Hi, I'm Claudia St. I'm the president of Affinity HR Group. We are your HR partner and resource. This video is being taped 1 week after the video release of the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Since that time, there has been a lot of social unrest, a lot of activities going on that have affected communities across the United States. We've been getting a lot of questions about what is free speech and what is protected speech, and particularly whether employees have the right to exercise their First Amendment right to free speech in protesting. This is also done in the context of the COVID health pandemic. So I wanted to take a minute to address those concerns here. What's important to know, first of all, is that free speech is really, I think, a little bit misunderstood. Employees do not have the right to free speech in their own workplace. So it's important to know that you cannot just go into your workplace and say anything that you wish. You can lose your job for that. So that's important. The other thing is that most of us employers work under the at-will employment common law that comes over from the Mayflower, basically. And what that means is that you can hire or fire at will as long as you're doing so not for discriminatory reasons. For example, because of somebody's age, sex, gender, religion, race. There are very few exceptions to at-law provisions. Most of us in our workplace operate under at-will. But one of the exceptions is in the public interest. So if an employee is exercising their off-duty rights to behaviors that are both legal and deemed in the public interest, they are protected, and those activities are protected. Those would include things like volunteering for the National Guard or voting. So in the public interest is a definition that matters here. So employees who are out protesting the killing of George Floyd and calling for racial justice is actually language that is to protest discrimination, which is and would be considered in the public interest, as long as doing so is done in a lawful manner, not on private property and not in a violent or vandalous way. So people who are peacefully protesting for their rights and for calling for reform in our judicial system or in our policing system would be considered in the public interest. Not all speech is like that. We've received questions about the Charlottesville marches from a couple of years back. Was that protected speech? That speech was not a lawful or in the public interest, such as opposing discrimination is. The chants during that march were "Jews will not replace us." That is not in the public interest. So employees who were engaging in that type of speech were doing so in a way for a speech that's not protected. Just as when President Trump's motorcade drove by a woman who was riding a bicycle and she made an obscene gesture toward the president, she too lost her job because that speech is not protected. So defamatory speech, violent speech, or acts of violence are not protected, but the peaceful protests calling for the end of racial discrimination would be considered to be. Again, of course, this is all happening in the light of COVID, and so there are other considerations there as well. But if you have any questions, I encourage you to give us a call or give an attorney a call if you're thinking about considering taking action against an employee for some actions that are done in light of the current unrest. I hope this helps. These are difficult times, but we hope you are safe, and we hope that you have a safe and productive work week. Take care.